Hi there, and welcome to How to Sell on Social Media and 3 keys to factors to social selling for business owners specifically. Okay, so what we are going to talk about in this course is what is social selling, what is the difference between marketing and selling, just so we're all clear about that. What has changed in terms of selling online versus digital presence and websites, how they all fit together. I'm going to show you some techniques in terms of how to actually post. What is the formula to posting and blogs and actually building trust and credibility and finding a new way of channeling business, channeling sales and people into your business. And I'm also going to share lots of tools that you can use. All of the tools that I'll share actually do have free account options. So that's great if you're at a starting point. For now, I'd like to jump right in terms of what is social selling. So firstly, social selling is the process of developing relationships with people as part of your sales process. Today, this often takes place via social networks like LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook. Some people do it on Instagram and Pinterest. I'm a very big LinkedIn and Facebook social seller. That's our main focus is in terms of our target client, which is the small and medium-sized business providers. Okay, and this can happen online as well as offline. Now, in the past, it happened a lot offline when you actually used to network with your friends and your family, and people would know, oh, but Joe X does this. Why don't you give them a call? Or they would see your handiwork and they would ask, oh, who made this? Where'd you get that? And so forth. And that is also considered the process of social selling, but in an offline basis. Now we're doing the exact same thing. We're simply bringing it online. And that's why we do things like posts on social media. We tell people about what we do, why we do it, how it works, what are the benefits of doing it. What are the drawbacks of doing it as well or not doing it, and so forth across various different mediums, and we use that in terms of our social selling profile. Okay, now social selling and organic marketing are very closely linked. Okay, organic marketing though refers to any form of digital marketing that a business does that it does not involve paid ads. Now, let me tell you a little secret. Every single business in the world, the biggest corporates, the smallest businesses, has to do organic marketing. It is the base of it. This is the overall strategy that a business would have from its marketing in terms of how it wants to present, what it's going to post, what's aligned in terms of its digital presence and its message above. You cannot run a business simply on paid ads in Facebook, paid ads in Instagram, paid ads on Google. Once somebody goes past the ad and they actually look at what is on your website, what is in your social media account, and they go through your posts, if all they see is ads, it does not build trust and credibility. Okay, so organic marketing, everybody does it. Have a look at some of the bigger accounts, the more well-known names that you're aware of, and you'll see as well, even though they might run paid for ads, they might run TV ads, they are still running social media posts every day so that they can organically create their profile outside of paid ads. It's the first base of what everything starts with when you start carving your digital presence. Okay, the next thing I'd like to clarify before we proceed is what exactly is the difference between sales and marketing, because I think a lot of people are very confused between the two, so I thought we'd just sort that out. So firstly, the term sales refers to all activity that takes place that actually leads to the sale of goods and services. Okay, everybody agree from that. From the second the customer walks in, it is possibly the most important process in a business that ever needs to be focused on, because if you don't make a sale, you don't have a business to begin with. Okay, what is marketing? Marketing is simply about creating awareness and interest in your business. So yes, marketing agents or marketing personnel are responsible for making sure that they paint a picture and communicate what your business does, its services, its products, and do that to the best of their ability, as closely aligned in terms of how the company or what the company is doing about how it wants to be perceived in the market, so that it attracts the correct customer. Okay, you can do as much marketing as you want and spend hundreds of millions of it, and you can still be running a bad business that is losing money. And that is simply because marketing, doesn't matter how much you dress up an ugly woman, when she takes her makeup off, she's still ugly. Okay, so marketing is responsible for that interest and awareness, and if it's painting a pretty picture. However, when customers come and actually buy the product, buy your service, and go through your fulfillment process and they engage with your staff, if that picture that you sold them versus the actual reality of your product or service does not align, they're not coming back. Okay, and that will mean at the end of the day that you're spending a lot more money in terms of your sales and your marketing to acquire a new customer. You're going to need a lot of Facebook ads for that, as well as you're probably going to need a lot of staff because you're going to be doing a lot of refunds. You're going to be handling a lot of customers who are unhappy with the product or the service that they got because it doesn't align to what you sold them on the marketing campaign. Okay, so that is the difference between marketing and sales. And that is also the role of what marketing does in the company. They help us present ourselves to the rest of the world in a way that people understand and can connect with us and form awareness and possibly interest in our business. In terms of a sales funnel, they actually only sit in the top 2 tiers of the process. The rest is all a path towards sales, and then building awareness continuously through a strategy. So now I think that we know enough in terms of the basics, as in what is social selling, what is organic marketing. I'm going to assume you know exactly what a paid ad is for a year, whether it is on TV, in the newspaper, on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok. You know what a paid ad is. I want to talk about actually what do you need. I'd like to talk about what do you actually need in terms of being able to sell socially online. What is important here? And there are actually 10 points overall that I want to talk to you about. The first one is, and I'm going to call it very casual sort of titles, and you're going to see how I'm going to relay into it in a digital space, as well as I'm going to make an example in the physical world, so that if you're not as digitally savvy as you think you are, that you still understand where we're going with this because of the example that you can relate to in your physical world. Okay, you can leave me a comment and let me know how it goes through. Okay, so firstly, you need to look your best. Okay, when we talk about looking your best, things that you need to look out for is, number 1, does your digital presence on your Facebook account, your LinkedIn account, your website, do they all align? Do you have the same logo? Do you have the same cover picture at the back? Do you have the same tagline going through? Are you leading your customers to this exact same 3 accounts? Because that is the first thing that customers look at when they are actually interested in a product. Whether they're coming to you organically, just through something that they saw, a search, for example, or a paid ad, you're going to have to send them to your digital home anyway for them to actually go to the next step. And whenever they look beyond that, everything needs to align. So you need to look at, are your pictures and your images clear? Okay. Is your text clear? Are your fonts the same size, the same types of fonts? Is this appealing? Do you have a main message that indicates exactly what service you provide or what products you're selling? And are you clear about how the benefits of that and how they can acquire that? That is the first thing that you need to have there, along with contact information. Okay, so you need to make sure that you have a proper digital presence, that you're presenting your best foot forward. The equivalent of this in the physical world is if you were to have a physical shop, and we'll use a clothing shop here as an example, and somebody walks into the shop and the floor's dirty, there are clothing that's not hung on a hanger properly, or the clothing that is hung is wrinkled. You're not presenting properly what you are selling. Okay? They walk into your shop and your clothing shop, but all they can see is shoes. Makes no sense. Okay? So you've got to make sure that what you're saying on the sign outside, "Hi, come in, I sell clothing," actually aligns with what they see when they walk in. And if so, if they want to ask a question or they need help immediately, that you can very quickly get to them. And how do we get to them in this sense? We smile at them and we say, "Hey, you can contact here. Hey, you can buy here. Hey, you can email me here." Okay, so you've got to make sure you look your best. Just like you would have a sales assistant in the shop, you'd be standing there, and as somebody walks in, you say, Hi, can I help you? Do you need me to find you a garment that's not on the rails?" And somebody can easily take notes. You take a number, you call them back. Okay, so look at your website and your full digital presence on social media. If they don't align, don't bother engaging in any ads or any sort of selling, because at a background point, I cannot say that people are going to sell from you. You might attract a little bit of attention, but what you'll do more likely is place doubt in people's mind as to if this is a legitimate business and actually what are you selling or what do you want me to talk about. So your efforts will be better spent at this point, firstly making sure that your digital presence is aligned with what it is you want to present to the world. Okay, so that is our first point. The second point I want to talk to you about is consistency. In a digital world, consistency is very important. You cannot make one social media post, you cannot make one social media ad and suddenly think, "I put out a post, people are going to love it, they're going to come in and immediately buy." No. What speaks more is consistency. So you need to post every single day, 5 days a week, and don't worry, you can use a social media scheduler. I'll explain about that later on. But you consistently post telling people what you buy, why to buy it from you, how to buy it from you, what are the benefits of it, or you post industry-related material. But consistency is very important. If people come to your site and they say, you posted here and you posted last month and you posted 3 months ago, they're going to wonder, does this business still exist? However, if you are at least doing one post a week as an absolute minimum, then of course, they're pretty sure that you exist. Make sure that you are keeping your social media profiles up to date. You're keeping any other digital presence that you possibly have on your website or via other directories up to date, so that people are aware that you are available, you are awake, and that yes, your business is ready for business. So you do that, you're consistently posting, consistently providing value, and that leads us to our third point. When you consistently provide value in your posts, people start to trust you and you build credibility. Now you're thinking to yourself, I don't know what I'm going to post. I sell lighting. I sell lamps. Talk to me about the effects of lighting. You know, lighting can make me look good. It can also make me look bad. As we know, what are the different types of lights there are? The more passion you bring to what you're speaking about, the more I will engage with you. I actually know someone who every single week can tell me a story about printing, and he is so passionate about it, I'm so engaged in what he says. So think about it. If you are passionate about what you do, talk about things that relate to it. Okay? But building trust and credibility is very important in the digital world. Another key way that we do that is through reviews. Okay, so for example, reviews are a way of people referring people to you, but people you don't know. And they are very key to growing your business beyond people who you socially can reach and beyond other people's networks. If you can imagine that in the physical world, I would walk around and I would wear this jersey. And people would say, oh, I love that jersey. Where did you get it? And I'll be like, I got it at the place called The Clothing Shop. And they are at 123 up the road lane. And people will go, oh, I saw the lady walk down the street and I asked her where she got this jersey. And she told me she got it here and she loves the jersey and it was a great price and there was good service. Okay, so in the physical world, we can have that conversation. We can stop someone and say, hey, I saw that and I liked it. Where'd you get it? How does it feel? What was the service like at the place? And everybody goes, great. How we do that in the digital sense is through reviews. Now, if you think about it subconsciously, when people have reviews on sites where publicly reviews are normally given, like Google, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram. Okay, there's nothing on Instagram. When there are reviews about your business and people have seen that, it further speaks to the fact that they can trust you, that you're real, that you're credible, and you want to make sure your reviews look good, or at least if they look bad, that you are managing them, you've gone back and you've tried to help the customer and sort of fix the issue to the best of your ability. No one's perfect, okay? Because that is a signal for me as a buyer who's never bought from you before to actually know it's okay to go ahead and buy from you now. So if you are running, for example, an online store, one of the things you want to sit down and do is you want to sit back and go, okay, we need to go on a bit of a drive here for the next 3 to 6 months and encourage customers to log reviews on Google, on our website, on whatever other directories we have a presence in, because this will help us become more socially, become more discoverable, okay, organically within those different search engines and those different platforms. Number one, those are trust signals that other customers take and say, oh no, people do buy jerseys at the shop. They like them. I'm going to go and buy me a jersey at the shop. Okay, so what we're trying to do here is build credibility and trust with people we don't know, who are casually walking by on social media or online and they're looking for a product. They see your product. Now we've gone past the awareness and creating interest part. Now people go and they look for signals that tell them I can go ahead and buy here. And that is trust and credibility. They want to know that they can actually get to this garment. They want to know how fast you can deliver. They want to know the price. They want to know that their payment methods are secured. Okay. They want to know how to contact you if something happens. Okay. And if you're an e-commerce business, they most definitely want to know what are your terms and conditions and your refund policy. Very important with e-commerce. Okay. So that is how you build trust and credibility when you're selling socially, and it is very important. When you sell online, it is actually very different mentally from selling in person. You cannot go and say to somebody every time, online we'll experience this a lot. You'll make a post and then suddenly someone will reply to you and they'll give you a link to some group about probably cryptocurrency or some multi-level marketing thing that you're not at all interested in. That is literally the equivalent of you walking around in a shop or walking in a mall and somebody coming in your personal space and trying to say, yeah, look at this, buy this. Hello, have you seen this? Buy this. It's not going to work. It's not going to work with people on social. It's going to get you very quickly banned on a platform. Okay. And it's definitely not going to create trust and credibility with customers who possibly are interested in your products and may engage with you. Okay, so that is why it's very important that you take your time and realize that this is a process. This is a way that you engage as you would in the physical sense, engage with someone in your shop. You don't crowd them, you offer assistance, and then you try and help them as best as you can in their space and time. Okay. The fourth point that I want to talk about is actually knowing your target customer, or in the salesy term, we call it knowing who your actual prospect is. In order to do this, you need to realize that not everybody is your customer. Now, I don't care whether you sell bread, lights, water, which is a need for all of us. Not everybody is your customer. They might be a user of a version of your product or service, but that doesn't mean that they want to buy that product or service from you. Okay? There's a big difference between someone using a version or a similar product that you sell and versus them wanting to be the person that buys it from you. Let's use, for example, the clothing shop. Okay? Now, people assume that everybody buys clothing. That's not actually true. Some women buy clothing for men, their husbands. Men sometimes buy clothing for women, right? We know that mothers more than likely buy their children's clothing. And that immediately tells you who is sometimes your customer and who is your buyer are two different possible profiles. Okay? And that is a whole thing in sales that we actually look at between who is our buyer, what type of buyer they are, okay, versus who is the customer that actually has their needs fulfilled by that product or service. So think about that for a moment. If you are selling a certain product, look at who actually is the user of that product as a first point, okay? And yeah, I just want to take a side step and use an example like McDonald's, okay? McDonald's sells kiddie meals. Kids don't have money though, but all of their marketing is focused towards creating interest with children so that children turn around and say, "Mommy, mommy, mommy, take me to McDonald's. I need a kiddie meal because I want that toy." And then mommy does it, right? So, depending on what you sell, you advertise to your actual target customer in one way. However, you advertise to the buyer in a different way. And this also depends on what product you're selling, where you're selling, and what, of course, is the pros and cons of your product versus the rest of the market. Okay? But for now, I want you to know it's very important that you know exactly who it is you're targeting. You know things like this is their possible ages, this is where they live, this is what they like to do, this is what they're interested in. This is why they would buy from me, and this is why they would not buy from me. The more you know about those factors, the more you know how you can approach this customer. Because if you approach this customer in a way that is contradictory to any of their likes, they're not going to buy from you. So let me give you an example. I have a customer profile for my business consulting clients. They are usually the ages of 30, 40, 50 plus. Okay? They reside in first world countries and possibly sometimes also in developing countries. However, they're all highly educated. They have usually their businesses themselves. They're ex-corporate. They do a lot of research on anything that they buy before they buy it. They are typical millennium, Gen Z type of character. Actually, they're millenniums. Okay? Now, a pushy sales way doesn't work with this type of customer. However, occasionally, this type of customer might be the type of buyer who would buy given if there's a bargain pricing attached. Okay? And that's just one of the types of buyers you get there. You get people who will buy because they need something, and we all want to push for those need buyers. That's the equivalent of a mother who has a baby and needs diapers. She's going to buy the cheapest, best, easiest diapers for her to get to. That's a need buyer. However, daddy might not be the person who buys the diapers majority of the time. However, if he walks past a sale and he knows that diapers usually cost like $50 a bag, and here you're selling it for $35, he'll pick it up. But that is simply because he's a buyer in that scenario. He's not a customer. See the difference? So you need to know your target customer. You also need to know about your buyer and what would trigger them. So who are they? Why are they buying from me? Why would they buy from competitors and not me? What are the benefits I can show them? What are the likes that they have related to my product? And what are the dislikes? Very importantly, what are the dislikes? And then think about it from a human perspective. Do you want somebody invading your personal space constantly saying, yeah, buy my cryptocurrency, yeah, I can get you rich quick? No, please. It is such a schlep when you go on social media and you're actually engaging in conversations, and every time you look, there's a reply for you, but the reply is, hey, Terrell, Christians, I can make you rich quick. Join my Telegram group for cryptocurrency. As if we don't know what cryptocurrency is about. No offense. Okay, so if you don't know how to properly approach your customer, don't bother, because all you're going to do is alienate them. So firstly, practice your approach. Think about it. What exactly is going to engage them as best as possible? And usually it is information sharing to begin with, advising them about the products, creating that interest and awareness. Okay, when they go ahead and then start to look at your product, they'll usually look at, yes, I do need to buy clothing. I need jerseys, I need pants, my kids also need clothing. Let me look in your shop. What are you selling? And this is that mom or that woman walking around in the shop and taking stock. Now, if you're smart, you'll know not every time a woman enters a shop does it equal a sale. But my goodness, she's a buyer, right? She's either looking at what you have, taking a mental note and comparing the pricing, looking and saying, oh, okay, I'm going to wait until it goes on sale because we're leaving winter right now, and I can always use this clothing for my child for next year winter. Okay, think about it. What are your different types of buyers versus your customers? Why is someone here? The second somebody shows interest and they actually start looking through your products, like in a store, they're going to look like, are people happy here? Is this a good quality product? How do I know that? Reviews, right? Buying signals. Interest, and they actually start looking through your products, like in a store, they're going to look like, are people happy here? Is this a good quality product? How do I know that? Reviews, right? Buying signals. Now, physically, because we can't touch garments anymore, if you are product-based, we rely on reviews. And this is the great thing. If you're running a services company, being digital sort of evens the playing field in that sense, because whether you get reviews for your services or your products, people can immediately access it. Usually in the physical sense, if you are offering a service, it is a bit harder, because if people just walk past your shop, let's say for example it's a hairdresser, and I don't know the shop, I don't know if people who go to the shop are actually happy with it. And let's just say I need a blowout, okay? And I'm like, can they handle my hair? Do they know what they're doing? Is it gonna hurt? Will it be fast? Have a look on my phone. What do they say about this hairdresser? And then I go, okay, I'm gonna come in, or I look at the faces of people possibly in the shop, in the hairdresser. Are they happy? Look at the people leaving. Those clients don't look so happy. Okay, so you see how reviews in the digital world can actually help you with that. The next thing I want to talk to you about is point number 5, nurturing your target customer. Now, remember in point number 4, I said to you that not every single time a customer enters your shop or shows interest in a conversation online or gives you a like, does that mean that they want to buy what you're selling right now? Okay, they could simply be a consumer of this type of product or service, and they're engaging with you because number one, they like what you're selling. Okay, they're interested in your shop. They walk past every day and they see the display and they're, I like that. I like that. They like your post, they give you a like, right? That doesn't mean that you jump on them immediately and say, hey, can I give you a discount? Come buy now. Okay? You've got to nurture the relationship. Say thank you. Say, that's great, I'll try that next time. Or tell me more. Engage with that customer. It's part of the nurturing relationship. Hence why there's so many social media management jobs now. Okay? But don't worry. As a smaller business, you can still engage. Nobody expects you to be online 24/7 in terms of engagement. I personally only engage twice a week. On a Monday and a Thursday, I go online and I make a point of spending that time to engage on other people's profiles, on answering their questions, on asking them about their businesses, because I'm nurturing my target customer relationship. So remember, that is like somebody walking into your shop and saying, oh, you're looking at the jerseys. Oh, those jerseys are great. What type of jerseys do you usually wear? Or where do you usually get your jerseys from? Engaging with them, nurturing that relationship, taking an interest in them, in what is the purpose they use their jerseys for. Do you find that you wear jerseys most of winter? Do you wear them at home as well as at work? What kind of colors do you like? Is there any wool that you find irritating? Gosh, I should sell jerseys. Okay, point number 6. I want to talk to you about tracking, because we're running a business here and we want to know that the efforts that we're making in terms of social selling will pan out or shall pan out. Okay, so when it comes to tracking, you can only track something that you've planned for, that you're measured for. When we look at our social media profiles, we do have things that we can track. We can look at the impressions, we can look at the comments, we can look at the likes, we can look at the shares. Also look at the sales. If you have an online site, you can look at how many people visited your site, how long they stay, what they do. Do they buy? Do they abandon their carts? You know, what are the indicators in your business that can tell you how to track your social selling efforts? I want you to make a list of them from the social media platform side. What are the ways that you'll use there? So those are things like, what is my impressions? What are my likes, my comments, my shares? From a website perspective that is non-e-commerce related, you can simply ask your webmaster or person who does your website to look at the back, how many site visits you're getting every month, how long on average people stay on your site. And you can also look at things like conversion, as in how many people are logging queries with you, how many people are placing orders with you. If you have an e-commerce site, further to that, you can add in, you'll be able to know who's abandoning their cart, as in people are looking at certain things and they're putting it in a cart, but then they don't check out and actually follow through to buy. Those are your indicators that are already available to you. There are certain tools that you can purchase online to actually help you find out more about it. But usually if you already have an SEO monitor, then you monitoring tool, then you will already have a bit more information on that. Now, every single month to possibly 3 months, you want to set a target. You want to set a target on each of these indicators that you can come back to on a monthly basis, and you can look at, is this doing better than last month? How am I tracking from this point onwards to my next point? Okay, and the reason you want to do that is so that if you are not doing something that's making you gain on your target, on what you're actually planning to do, you can go back and sit and reflect, okay, what I'm doing in terms of posting, what I'm doing in terms of how my website's laid out, something is wrong. I'm not seeing the type of result that I'd like to see. I have got to look at this either with fresh eyes, bringing an expert. I've possibly got to do a survey with my customers. What am I missing? Okay, I've got to go back and look at what are the posts that had the highest amount of engagement or clicks or shares, depending on what indicator you're looking at. And then I've actually got to go and I've got to bring that in. Okay, so tracking your results over a monthly or quarterly basis is the best way to know you're progressing. Okay, and the reason why we do this is because when we speak on a daily basis, what usually stands out for people is the exception. So, I posted something and nobody replied. Now you're just thinking about what happened once. If that is what's happening on average for the last 3 months, yes, then you have a problem. Okay. However, if I was just to look at one post, I would think, oh my gosh, I've only reached a couple of hundred or a couple of 2,000 people. However, when I look at my engagement and my stats over a month or 3-month period, I can say, wow, our organic marketing efforts actually has good results. I'm looking at over a month or a 3-month period. Yes, we put out X amount of work, but these have been the results. And I further can see that when it feeds into the sales and it feeds into something else. Or if I don't see the results, I want to go, okay guys, what are we doing wrong here? Let's look at what strategies and posts are performing, okay, and what is not performing. What pages on our website is getting a lot of views and what's not getting a lot of views. I can simply pull a report and look at if my average on my website was X amount of time right now. People were averaging a 3-minute stay on one page. Why has it dropped to a minute? What have I done wrong? So tracking your results actually will show you insight in terms of whether or not your strategy is working for you or it's not working for you. And if you don't have a strategy, then you're already planning to fail. So make sure that you are planning things out. Okay? There's a saying, working for yourself is the hardest job you're ever going to have, or something like that. And it is true, but it's also the most fun. Okay? So let's talk about point number 7, which is monitoring relevant conversations to find prospects. Okay. Now this relates to very much looking and talking in groups. Now groups in Facebook, let me just tell you something, is becoming, especially in 2021, an increasing way of clients finding us, because we've specifically, not just me, but also guys in the team are sitting in groups and we're talking to customers. And by doing so, we're getting to know our target customers a lot more in terms of how to approach them. We're building trust and credibility with them, and we're nurturing our relationship. So you can see how these points are building on each other, how they feed in to each point. Okay, so you need to make sure that you are monitoring relevant prospects. In this sense, I'm going to relate this into the physical world, as in if you had, for example, buyers that you were working with or certain clients who spent over a certain amount in your shop. Okay, you want to make sure that you're engaging with them, that you're making sure they know about any specials that's happening in the shop. Okay, so if a customer was to walk into your shop and physically purchase, let's say 10,000 Rand or $10,000 worth of clothing, wouldn't you want that to have that customer come back more frequently? Yeah. Well, then in this world digitally, that means you need their contact information physically as well. You need an email address, you need a cell phone number so that you can drop them a message, send them a mail, and let them know what else is happening in the business. Okay? It also works for customers who may not purchase in that moment but are interested in what you have. By getting their email address and contact information, they have a way of telling them, these are my specials, this is what's happening, have a look over here. This is a way of actually keeping them abreast of what's happening and monitoring your conversation with them. Within the LinkedIn world, which is our main platform in terms of actually getting our customers here, it's still the leading platform that we earn from if we were to look at our different channels. We actually go as far as selecting a specific list of clients every 3 months, which we target, and then making sure that every week we're engaging with them in conversation on social media or even at least just liking something on their Facebook pages to stay top of mind. Okay, so this is us just building a relationship here. Point number 8. So 8, 9, 10. 3 more to go. Point number 8. Participate and engage in relevant LinkedIn and Facebook groups. And I'm going to tell you a little secret here. Even if it's a competitor, engage in conversation with them. Don't go hate speech. It's a public platform. Remember that. Catch more flies with honey than you do with vinegar. Okay? You engage with them and compliment them, because also when you do that, that shows customers and other possible prospects, wow, this person's mature, and they can recognize good work when they see it. Don't say anything if it's bad work though. Okay? It's a very important point in terms of you making money. There's no way you're going to make it in a social setting where you're just going to think, oh no, the people are going to come to my page, and then when they're on my page, I'm going to engage with them. No, you need to go out there and find your customer. Remember, this is a social selling platform. It's not about marketing. That's why marketing can heavily just rely on ads in terms of converting into sales. And that said, I want to talk to you a little bit about paid ads. Paid ads on average actually only convert to a 10% sales ratio. The only way that amount, that percentage conversion rate can be increased is if you have exceptional service or product quality, pricing, okay, as well as you're giving your customer exactly what they expect, and there's a big enough market for you. So what am I saying here? What I'm saying is, if you're spending $1,000 or 1,000 Rand on a Google or marketing campaign, you're probably only going to make 100 Rand from that. Only 10% of that is what you'll see as a return. So then I hope that 10% portion is enough to cover the spend that you give out. But now you're going to say, but you did an exact money Rand to Rand comparison. What happens if I sell things that is 10,000 Rand or $10,000 each? Well, think about it. Let's do numbers. If your $1,000 or 1,000 Rand means that you can reach 1,000 customers, okay? In our typical marketing conversion rates, that means only 30% of those customers are going to click once, which means they're going to have a look at your ad in detail. When it says sign up here or click here for more info, they're going to click. That's 30% of 1,000. That's 300 people. Okay? 300 people are now at step 2 of your process. Now they're on your sales page. From that 30%, those 300 people, only 10% of them, which is 30 people, may click buy. And they will only click buy if your ad, your sales page, speaks to them 100%. If it's presentable, if it's speaks exactly to what they need. Okay, they believe in that very moment that buying this product or service is going to get them the result that they want. If they feel that you are trustworthy and credible, they will click buy. And then I hope that from a technology point of view, the button works and it actually goes through. Okay, based on that, we could talk about, okay, some of them will just leave it in the basket and not actually follow through with card details. But let's just look at that for a second. So that's 30 people who click buy. They click buy and your product costs 1,000 each. That's 30,000 Rand. What's the cost of the products? What's the cost of the campaign? Because it's going to be higher than that. So you've got to make sure what your marketing is actually what somebody is going to receive at the end of the day, what they're buying. That is the biggest key that we actually have towards making sure that you can increase that conversion rates, is if you've got that formula correct, which are those top 5-6 points that we spoke about. look good, you're credible, you're trustworthy, you're consistent, you're nurturing your relationship, and people believe if I click buy now, buying this product or service is going to get me the result I need, it's going to fulfill my needs. Okay, so a paid ad campaign is very much based on a strong organic presence as well as quality and service from that company in terms of what their product does. If not, you might get buys, but you also get a high return rate. Okay, there's no way of escaping doing sales without engaging with people. Hence why salespeople have great commission rates. Okay, because they actually bring home the bacon. There's no way of automating this. There's no amount of ad spend that's going to actually give you that same result. We are not machines. We can do a lot of things with machines, and believe you me, I'll show you tons. But at the end of the day, the sales process requires engagement. I personally engage twice a week, okay? And then the other guys in the team also have their days of engagement, but that is what works in the social world right now, especially if you want to grow in different settings. By that I mean locations and in different markets. Okay. Point number 9, you cannot be selling socially or online without social media profiles, okay, and email marketing. Now, social media profiles very much relate to point 1 and point 3, point 1 to 3, which we spoke about before. Actually, points 1 to 5, which we spoke about before, about providing consistent information, making sure that your profiles look good. Your logos are clear, your pics are clear, your videos are there. You're doing consistent posts, be it once a week or 5 times a week, in which you're sharing information about your products and services. And it's not always just a sales post, but it's also about why they should use you, what they'll get from it, examples of your work, and so forth. Okay? That's what you do in terms of social media. Then you've got to make sure that all the buttons that you have work and that you've given them the correct contact information for you, so that if they are interested and now they actually want to inquire, give me a quote, I want to know what this costs, and so forth, that they can make contact with you. And that's how you know people are now going on the buying journey. Okay, that you've engaged with them correctly, and now they want to make sure, let me first look at your products or services and let me make sure that it fulfills my need, that I'll get the result I want. People buy results, they don't buy products or services. Whatever you think you're selling, let me tell you now, you're selling a result. Okay, that's why people ask me what I do. I say I increase sales, I increase productivity, and I create a bigger profit. Because all of my strategies lead to that. People don't care how I do it as much as what they're going to get out of it. Let's talk about email marketing now. Okay? Email marketing is the equivalent of receiving a letter in the post. Now, sending people constant letters every week, for example, was a strategy based on a strategy called staying top of mind in marketing. And this is very much what we do between having a consistent, constant social media presence, as well as making sure that we have an email marketing campaign, whether you are emailing your client base as a whole on a monthly basis or on a weekly basis. Specifically, if you're trying to grow your business, weekly is usually better. You want to make sure that you are sharing information with them on email, because guess what? At any point in time, number 1, you can be removed from a social media platform because you do not own it. Okay. Number 2, your customers could decide that they're moving off that social media platform. Yeah, think of that. Number 3, you want to make sure that any customer that's taken the time to actually give you their email address, that you're providing information with them. Okay. Now, very rarely will you find that people will send out emails less frequently than that if they are trying to grow their business. Okay. If you are sending less frequently than that, I would suggest, if you have business growth in mind, that you send it more frequently, at least one a week or one a month at the most to grow your base, simply because people want to know that if they bought from you or if they're interested in buying you, what is happening there. They can always delete your mail the one day, they can find your stuff on social media, but it is needed. Okay, remember, on social media people have so many things thrown at them. It is possible to mute somebody from your feed. Yes, I can mute ads, I can mute organic posts as well. You can all be my friends, but I can mute all of your posts and all of your stories. So I don't have to see stuff from you, but you assume we're friends on Facebook or Instagram or so forth. Okay, I don't need to see any of that. So personally, I actually do a lot of that muting. It's why now that button works, because I might have a lot of people as friends, but they have different levels of access to my profile. But that is how you control what you're seeing and what other people are seeing socially on social media. And second to that, email. Now for me, email is a big thing because it's a big thing with millennials. It's something we still look at. Okay, I don't know if you are aware of this, but a lot of millennials, as well as more so Gen Zs, do not like to talk on the phone. They prefer to firstly engage online through an online chat and email before they actually possibly go into a conversation with you, be it a voice conversation or a video conversation or IRL, in real life conversation. Email marketing, things that we can put at people's work within their schedules, work better for us. And this is why chatbots work well. This is why email works well. This is why you'll find a lot of people get a chance to respond to you in their own time. Think about it. Sometimes somebody will read a message and they won't reply. They're not replying because they're not ignoring you. Some people are. But they're also not replying because they were busy with something. You're not there face to face with them. You don't know what people are dealing with in their section. So in my life, in my business, my clients have lives. They have businesses to run, or they're senior employees in companies, meaning they have businesses to run. Most of them are over the age of 30, so therefore they have families as well. Some of them are taking care of parents, so they have a lot of people looking for their time. I'm happy to send them an email, to send them a video that they can just click on and link to, and they can watch when they want to, and they can send me a video or email back. A lot of my clients actually love it. It's so much easier. I think I've done wonders for Vimeo and Loom and what's it, Vineyard out there, where we actually just make a quick video, share that information. They can watch it, they can think about it, they can say, okay, this is my reply. They can send me a voice note, they can send me a video, they can write an email, your choice. Yep, that's technology and that's our lives these days. So email marketing is still very relevant. If anybody calls me and my customers, they say, put it on an email first. I'll look at it in my time and then I'll get back to you in my time. If you're thinking right now that you can harass somebody over the phone into buying something, you're going to have a very long battle, and I'm going to ask you to think, how productive is that? Instead, what I could be doing from a social media point, where people are on the platform then and there, versus what I could be doing from an email point, engaging with people in the time that they want me to engage with them, when they're ready to look at that email or not. I want to make you aware that someone's social media feed, besides them muting you, that social media feed is also based on an algorithm. Okay? How many times you're posting affects it, what types of likes you get affects it, what your target customer has listed in terms of what are their interests affects it. Okay? If they are regular in terms of seeing your site. So if you only post once a week or once a month, the chances of your actual customer seeing your post is minimal, because you don't frequent the algorithm as many times. Hence why we've got posts that run at least 3 to 5 times a week, and we stay relevant in that rhythm. We're also providing fresh information, social media, and people like that. Hence why we have that variety now of what we talk about. We share lots of information. That's just the nature of us, because we know that you can have all the information you want. It depends. Are you experienced and skilled enough to actually see how to implement it in your situation, and also what to do if something happens and how to respond to that? Okay, so I'm not selling access to information. I'm actually selling you the result that I can give you using these things. I simply use the information as part of an education process, an attraction process with my customers. That algorithm is fed on social media, and there is something like a 2 or 3% chance that a customer will see your page if you are an infrequent poster. People are more interested in seeing the latest gossip. I always want to know what's happening with Meghan Markle and Britney Spears. 2, family and friends. And 3, possibly other things that I'm interested in buying, or things that I'm interested in looking at from a service point of view. Social media knows that. They know what comes up on my feed. Even my Google stories are in line with what I'm Googling, in line with what I'm looking at. So that's why we post constantly. We are consistent. If you're posting 3 times a week, great. If you're posting once a week, that's your choice. If you're posting 5 times a week, which if you're running a business, I would advise, you've got to put something out there. You've got to frequent the social media profiles. One of the first things people say to me, wow, you're on social media a lot. I say, yeah, I've got a fantastic tool for that, which I'll tell you about a bit later. But it is important in terms of me organically growing my business and maintaining a presence. These days, the type of customer that I target is more interested in their social media to relax on, or to look at if they're looking for business stuff than looking at TV. However, they look at Google, they look at LinkedIn, they are in certain groups, there's certain things they're interested in, and I'm feeding that algorithm. So that's why we say consistency, guys. It's so important. Number 10, and this very much speaks into lifelong learning, not just as a person, but as a business. You have to adapt if you want your business to survive. If you're not adapting, chances are your business is not going to survive. You need to strategically decide every month to 3 months or years, depending on the size of your business, this is what we are doing. These are the initiatives and the goals that we have. This is the actions we're going to take to try and accomplish it. Steadily, either every week, every month, every quarter, go and review that. Have our actions aligned to our objectives? Have we seen the results we have? What's happened in terms of issues coming in? How have we mitigated any risks to that? What can we learn from what has happened in terms of our actions and the results versus the actual objectives we were trying to reach? Reflect on that, learn and adapt. That is probably the most important skill that we will talk about here. Okay, so those 10 skills overall and those 10 key points are going to help you get there. A bit later on, I'm going to come back and recap on them and focus specifically on 3 key ones. But for now, I'd like to teach you a technique. Okay, so when it comes to writing posts on social media, writing articles, writing blogs, creating a video, creating any type of content, even laying out a website page, there actually is a formula in terms of how you would structure that content to get the most attention and communicate a actual idea, thought, or product or service that you want to. Okay, I want to teach you about one of these techniques. They're called storytelling. So what you'll see here is that I've used a social media post. Okay, now remember everything in its context. The very first line that somebody sees, whether it is the first line of your social media post, it is the heading of an article, or it is the very first thing that they see, like your tagline or on your website about your business, that we call a hook. You either hook them with it and they go and look, what does the rest of this say? They walk into the shop, they look at the social media post, they open up the article. You have one line to do that in. Okay, Thankfully, on social media, we can change that line every day. So we can use different types of hooks, and different hooks appeal to different people. Okay. Secondly, especially when you're writing content, that's posts on social media, that is articles, that is videos that you're making, you actually want to make sure that you are communicating on an emotional level. Okay. Unless you're writing and your client is a machine, being able to talk to an emotional point helps them understand that. So I very much talk, if you have a look in this article, you'll see that I communicate that before my first interview, and you'll know as a business consultant and me, I don't do live interviews. In fact, I only did my first one, I think this was last year. I was nervous. It's my first time. And I'm okay with admitting that, simply because that's the millennial I am. I'm in touch with my emotions. And everyone else in my sector, I know you'd be nervous if you have an interview. If you're not, you're obviously more experienced, and I'm not talking to you. But anyway, I communicate I'm nervous, and that also from a human perspective, whether you're experienced or not, you can relate to. Everyone in their life's been nervous. Okay? Then I explain, oh, but I feel like something's going wrong here. Okay? The host is asking me the same question, but just phrased differently. I must not be answering her correctly. Okay, so point aside, I answer her correctly, that getting out of the conversation is right. But when I reflect on it, I realize that I possibly need to go and look at my messaging on my website and some of our social media, because I'm thinking if this host is actually a target customer of mine, what I've been saying so far doesn't actually resonate with her. Okay, so it's a teachable moment. It's also for me an opportunity to show people about how I think and how I work. The fact that I can reflect on what I'm doing personally and how it can change and how it impacts a business shows a specific skill. Okay, in terms of how I think, how I can think multilaterally, how I can think creatively in that same moment, how I can think strategically. Okay, which is very important because I'm a business consultant, and that's what you're getting. You're getting multiple ways of seeing the same situation and how it impacts in terms of your product, services, business, perception. And we go back to the drawing board. We have very little ego in this company. So yeah. And then, of course, last but not least, I explain my learning and I offer them the opportunity to actually watch the interview. And when I did that, that's what we call a call to action. Okay. Now, typical call to actions is a buy button. Buy now. More info. Email me. That's when we give somebody an instruction in terms of what would be the next step. So if everything that you have said to them in this post, in this article, if there is some sort of way of, let me find out more. Oh, I want to buy this article. This would be the way of actually saying to them, here's how you find out more information. Okay, so you see how you're creating that structure. And it works, whether you're creating an article, okay, your title and your subtitles, they act as what people will immediately skim and say, oh, this is what the article's about. It's going to teach me what I'm posting, how I need to post, why I should post this way. Okay, let me read it. Oh, I can now understand what I thought I was posting correctly and what the result is. Okay, so what do I need to do? I must do this as number 1. I must do this as number 2. Oh, and you want to know more? Do you want to do this course? Yes, I do. Click on it. What is the price of that course? Oh, it's $100,000,000 US dollars. I can't afford it. Okay. Buyer, bad price point. That's just an example, and I'm making sure that you're still awake. This technique is called storytelling. If you look at our posts, you'll see we have it. It's the one that I teach all the time. It's the one that we use across multiple platforms. It works the same way even if you were looking at your website. Think about it. Your hook, your tag, the first thing I see above the fold. Am I interested? Nah, it's not what I thought. Do they explain what they're doing here and what I'm going to get for my business? No, I'm not interested how they do it. I'm not interested that they practice design thinking. I'm not interested that they've been doing this for 15 odd years. I'm not in. Oh, you can increase my sales. Oh, how can you increase my sales? Oh, you can increase productivity. Oh, yes, tell me what tools you have that I can use, because now you're speaking to your customer. Where do I click? Okay, so this is called storytelling, and as you can see by this example here, this clearly shows you how it would work. I just want to take a moment and I just want to show you some social proof, is what we call it in the industry. Just an example to show you that what I'm talking about actually works. This is from LinkedIn. This shows you that my posts are in the top 1% of engagement, or this particular post was on this day. I get a few of them so now and then. Makes me feel proud, makes me think I know what I'm doing still. And these are the types of things that you'll start to get on the different social media profiles. My next one is to go for one on LinkedIn. I'm sorry, not on LinkedIn, on Instagram. Okay. Now I want to talk to you about what are the tools that we use and why. Okay. Now you've heard me mention before that I use a social media scheduler. I use two, in fact, and I'll tell you why in a moment. Okay. But in terms of creating a post and creating an image that we'll use, whether or not those images are animated as in GIFs or those posts are mini videos, we use at Success by Design, we use a program called Crello. Okay. And the reason we use it is, number one, I came across it and I actually have a lifetime membership in its heyday, in its early day. Okay. Number two, the images and the templates it provides is very different from what you normally see online. And why is that? Because most people are using Canva and they're using Unsplash and they're using other free sites for pictures. Okay. That helps, but it's not so good if everybody's got the same pictures, right? You want to look a bit different. You want to differentiate yourself. Hence why we use Crello. Okay. Price wise, it's much cheaper than Canva. I think Canva goes at about $12 or $13 a month, whereas Crello goes at about, I think it's $7 or $8, possibly $9 a month. Okay. At Success by Design, we have a lifetime membership because we got in early enough. Don't be jealous. There are people who have lifetime memberships to MailChimp and Canva. Okay. They got in early enough. I just happened to find one with Crello, and Crello is turning out to be absolutely fantastic. So we create our images and our mini videos and our GIFs in Crello. Okay. They're constantly adding pictures to it and so forth. And we'll leave a link for you in the course as well. Second to that, we use two social media schedulers. The first and favorite one that we use, in which we schedule 90% of our posts, is called Poster Plan. Okay. Again, we got in quite a while ago with both of them, hence why we have lifetime memberships. Okay. But you can still get in and actually or you could actually buy in and use them for a lot less than you would the more popular social media schedulers. So let me just tell you, so there's some social media schedulers like Hootsuite, Buffer. You can do it through Outpost too, but they're quite expensive. Okay, in terms of what they offer, they've done great work and they give great benefit. However, they've gotten quite pricey. Okay, whereas Poster Plan is less so. Okay, so firstly, there's a definite price benefit. Second to that, Poster Plan does two things that I absolutely love. Number one, it suggests posts for me. So I don't have to think much. It will tell me if I flick a little switch on it, actually what I could be posting about today. Number two, it allows me to manage multiple accounts. So I manage my own account and other accounts, sometimes client accounts as well. And I can do that through Poster Plan. There's no limit on that. I can schedule posts on every single platform that you can think of except TikTok right now. And I say right now because there's plans for that. Second to that, it's also one of the few social media platforms that I know that allows me to even schedule straight up a Google story. Okay. And Google stories are growing. If you're not, it's the most powerful search engine, guys. So make sure you're publishing on it. Second to that, I can schedule up to 18 months in advance It suggests posts. I can have multiple accounts here and we can have multiple roles. So myself and the team will have roles within it. Okay, so we can easily see it provides analytics. So we know what every post is doing. We can reflect and say, oh, this one worked, this one didn't work. You know, it's got a central box in terms of where we can answer in. So we don't have to spend time on multiple different platforms. We can simply go to a section within Poster Plan and reply on posts that we've made. Okay, so this is excluding what we do in groups because we don't have control over groups. Well, not the groups we control anyway. It allows us to actually, if you're interacting on our pages, on our posts, we can interact with you straight out of Poster Plan. It's totally fine. Okay, I'll leave links for you at the bottom for all of this, and please note, in some of them we are affiliates, so we might make a small commission if you decide to have a paid account. However, no, all of them have a free account in it. Okay, so that's the great thing about Poster Plan. Oh, last but not least, you can actually create graphics as well in Poster Plan. Okay, so remember, that's why when you look at our social media, sometimes you'll say, I've never seen these pictures before, I've never seen these graphics kind before, and that's because we use slightly different products. Our stuff looks more unique. Second to that, the other social media scheduler that I have is called Missing Letter. Okay, but Missing Letter is designed for people that actually do blogs and do articles. Okay, and also, so if you're a blogger or you're creating lots of articles, this is possibly then the type of social media scheduler that you'd want to look at. I love Missing Letter. It does everything that Poster Plan does. Blogs and my stories, our stories, and then it does actually suggest what we could use as hosting lines in. It provides analytics. Its price points are great. But the one thing it does do, it doesn't do graphics, but the one thing it does do besides, it gives us links into like GIFs and into like Unsplash to choose pictures or upload pictures. Okay, so we can, it totally works as a social scheduler. The one thing it does do though that is really special about it is it has what's called a curator. So what this is all Missing Letter clients who are other bloggers as well, we all can promote blogs that we are happy that other people share on their sites. And this is very useful for us when we're looking for quality content that is not our own and we shared it. We don't claim that it's ours. It goes to those people's sites where you can read their articles. But it's also important from a social point of view to not just constantly share our own work. Okay, you've got to engage with other people's work. You've got to share other people's work, share your clients' work even, because this helps to grow your engagement. There's no way you're going to get out of social media without engaging. So that's going to be a really big thing. Okay, then from an email point of view, I'd like to tell you about a platform called SendFox. And SendFox is great value for its price. It's exactly like MailChimp. The only difference is it's much cheaper. It's made by a company called AppSumo. And AppSumo is one place where I do buy quite a few of my apps from. But there are many places like AppSumo. These are places who promote software products that are not as popular. Way back in the day, they promoted Canva and MailChimp as well. I am not an affiliate of AppSumo, but I do have a link below, and if you use that link, then you'll get a $10 discount on your first buy if you decide to buy, and I'll get a $10 gift for inviting you to the site. So that's not an affiliation, but that is a discount for you if you'd like, if you find anything you like there. Now the nice thing is SendFox is only sold via AppSumo. And for SendFox, there are still lifetime deals. You can buy, we've got the 5,000 emails, which means we can have 5,000 contacts that we can mail every single month as much as we want. I think we've only paid like $49 for it. I think it's still $49. If not, it could be $59. But use the once-off discount for your first buy and you'll save yourself $10. Okay, so I know that MailChimp costs about possibly, I think about $200 or $300 rand, which is around $27, $28 right now. So by getting a once-off account and just buying the amount of contacts you need. If you've got a list that's like 10,000 contacts, I think you're looking at something like $119, which means just under 2,000 Rand. So what's nice with buying on AppSumo is there's a lot of lifetime deals. I would still say to you, watch out who you're buying from, check them out. But don't worry about SendFox. It's actually owned by AppSumo. So the dev team will be around for a long time. Let's conclude. Recapping on what are the key factors for social media. What are the key factors to social selling? The 3 key factors, firstly, that I want to draw your attention to is number 1, building trust and credibility with customers out there, potential customers. Everything else aside, everything that you do has got to be about that. Reputation is important. It takes a while to build one, but it can be destroyed very easily. So make sure you're giving people what they're paying for, okay? That you're delivering on what it is that you're offering. Point number 2, know your customer. Know who you're targeting. Don't try and be everything to everyone. Focus on customers. We focus specifically on helping small and medium-sized businesses increase their sales, increase their productivities. We'll help you find tools and create processes to make things easier in your business so that you can increase your profit. Okay, so long-term success and sustainability of a small and medium-sized business is what we will help you build. Review, reflect, learn, and adapt. There's no winning formula. The formula is to constantly be adapting what you're doing to what's happening in your current market, to what's happening to your customer, what's happening in the environment. Okay, learn from it. Learn from the what is working, learn from the what's not working, adapt it, review it, repeat. Those, I think, are the key factors. Overall, please remember that time is finite. It's the only thing you can't get back. So be intentional about how you use it. Sit down and first make your strategy and decide what it is you're going for here before you just start acting on those points. On that note, thank you very much for your time.